But the biggest difference is that it can run on an iPhone. Google just released Gemma 4. So Gemma 4, the reason it's such a big deal is because they optimized it for edge devices. So what that means is Google is really well known for their edge network. So they have a really big cloud edge network where they have a bunch of data centers everywhere, and then they deliver content to you based on where your network is most closely connected. So if you're in, the East Coast, you get an East Coast server. If you're in the West Coast, you get a West Coast server. So they've done a lot of work building an edge network. And so obviously a lot of the research effort they've put in has been, how do we make these models run on these edge network devices most efficiently without sacrificing a ton of quality? And so Gemma 4 is kind of their answer, where they basically trained this model that operates almost at Gemini level. They designed it to be intentionally good at code and agentic processes and all the stuff that you would normally use Claude Code for. But the biggest difference is that it can run on an iPhone. There's an app,
Google AI Edge Gallery,
that you can download that will run Gemma 4 locally on your computer. And the really cool part about this, and why I thought it was relevant with Claude Code banning the use of OpenClaw, is because Gemma is already supported on Ollama. And this is, again, Google DeepMind, right? So DeepMind is the research lab that Google uses to create all of their models, just like OpenAI was a research lab, Anthropic was a research lab. That's where these models come from. They come from dozens of very, very talented engineers getting paid very well to come up with solutions for these biggest problems. And one of the biggest problems is, how do we get the same performance qualities that we are expecting of these frontier models, but be able to do it on a chip that can fit into a phone or into a laptop? So for a little bit of background, Ollama basically lets you run AI models on your device natively without you having to do anything. Because normally, if you want to run a local open source model on your device, you have to download the weights and bias, and you have to build the code around it that can inference it and then stream back the response. So Ollama basically packaged all of that, because the code doesn't change. Like for a language model, the only thing that's different is the number of parameters, the shape of the input and the output. Like there's only a few things that have to change, but everything else, all of the other kernel processes and the underlying like actual AI specific code, it doesn't change that much. And so it's the first app that launched that made it so that you can download this to your device, and then you tell it, hey, what is the model I want to use? Tell it where to get it. It will download it, and then it will automatically configure it so that you can run it on your device without having to know all the Python and all the C code and all that stuff. So it's a really, really good tool. It got huge. They have a cloud version. Obviously, if you're on a device that can't support the models, they have virtual devices. And so that's where they make most of their money, is through the cloud usage. But even on the cloud usage, you're still using open source models. So Gemma 4 is an open model, which is pretty cool, I think, from Google, because Gemini is not open source and a lot of their other models are not open source. Gemma 4, they decided, hey, let's just let everybody use it, because they ultimately want more people using their edge cloud services. And I think that's where this move comes from, is that now as a developer, if I know I need to run an AI model on a cloud server, right now I understand that that is a big investment. That is several $1,000s a month in dedicated virtual machine compute usage. With this, now I can run it on a normal CPU or GPU. Like I can run it in a normal app environment that I would run any other web application, and it's not going to spike my usage requirements. Again, on the heels of Claude Code banning the usage of OpenClaw without paying for the extra usage, Gemma gives you an opportunity to now run everything you ran for OpenClaw directly on your machine. You don't even need a cloud provider anymore. Now, as long as you have enough space on your machine, you can download Ollama, and then you can use Ollama to launch OpenClaw, because guess what? OpenClaw is also open source. So the entire code repo is available for anybody to use it, including the developers at Ollama. So the developers at Ollama created a port for OpenClaw, and then they made it so that you can, put any model you want. And then now you can run it with Gemma 4. And so Gemma 4, the reason it's such a big deal is because it's really breaking all of the benchmarks for the model size that it is and the amount of compute requirement you need for it. It's just so efficient and it's so good at like outperforming a lot of the other big closed source models that you have to have a subscription for. They now made it so that you can have this on your machine. You can run OpenClaw. You can run all of the agentic AI processes that you were running before, but you don't have to spend any money for it.
Hey, David Morello here, your host from SaaS with DaaS podcast. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and check out some of our other clips right here. And you can go ahead and see one of our other episodes or even clips from this same episode from SaaS with DaaS podcast. We'll see you on the next one.